What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Did I get that one right? Chief Justice Roberts, President Carter, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, fellow Americans, and people of the world, thank you. We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. And we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. Thank you. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. It belongs to everyone gathered here today and everyone watching all across America. This is your day. This is your celebration. And this, the United States of America, is your country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Break their conditioning to get
the forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people and a righteous public. But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities, rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation, an education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge. And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. We are one nation, and their pain is our pain. Their dreams are our dreams, and their success will be our success. We share one heart, one home, and one glorious destiny. The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. For many decades, we've enriched foreign industry at the expense of American industry, subsidized the armies of other countries while allowing for the very sad depletion of our military. We've defended other nations' borders while refusing to defend our own.
Welcome to our radio audience. I'm David Knight with Leanne McAdoo. This is live coverage of Donald Trump's inauguration. He's already been sworn in.
Trillions of dollars overseas, while America's infrastructure has fallen into disrepair and decay. We've made other countries rich, while the wealth, strength, and confidence of our country has dissipated over the horizon. One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions of American workers that were left behind. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes and then redistributed all across the world. But that is the past, and now we are looking only to the future.
It's really great how this speech is not being made about Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
That's right. He's been elected president of America, not the leader of the globalist cartel, as we saw
on
Biden
trade,
and Obama.
on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs.
That's right. In 8 weeks, he did more than Barack Obama did in 8 years to bring jobs to America, to keep them from
Protection
leaving.
will lead to great prosperity and strength. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. America will start winning again, winning like never before.
We're not going to get tired of it.
We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. We will build new roads and highways and bridges and airports and tunnels and railways all across our wonderful nation. We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor.
And all the Democrats.
We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American.
Paul Ryan doesn't like that.
No.
And he already took that out last
We
year.
will seek friendship and goodwill with the nations of the world, but we do so with the understanding that it is the right of all nations to put their own interests first. We do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example. We will shine for everyone to follow.
That's great.
I'm going to force your policies.
We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. At the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America. And through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
That's right. You see people as other human beings, as other Americans, rather
Bible
than a
tells
demographic
us
group to be
how
exploited.
good
Exactly.
and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable.
Again, we're covering live the speech
should
of
be
Donald
no
Trump after
fear.
his inauguration.
We are
President
protected,
Donald Trump.
and
Yes.
we will always be protected. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement. And most importantly, we will be protected by God.
Good.
Oh.
Gives God credit. I've heard
Finally,
that too much lately.
we
haven't I?
must think big and dream even bigger. In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving. We will no longer accept politicians who are all talk and no action, constantly complaining, but never doing anything about it. The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action.
He's already been pretty active
He wants to get right
as
to work.
president-elect.
Do not
Yeah.
allow anyone to tell you that it cannot be done. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. It's time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag.
For your Antifa protesters.
And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator. So to all Americans in every city, near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. God bless America.
All right, you've been listening to the first speech of President Trump. He has now been sworn in at the inaugural, and that was his first speech. And, of course, Leanne, as he was talking about that, he focused not on himself, but he focused on the people. He said not from one person to another, not from one party to another, but power has been transferred back to the people. It's not which party controls government, but if government is controlled by the people.
I can only imagine if Hillary Clinton would have been giving that speech, it would have been all about
women.
Social, yes, all the
I am the first woman. You notice I'm a woman? I am the first woman here to be prime president.
I've broken through the glass ceiling.
Oh, we would have heard glass ceiling, glass ceiling, glass ceiling.
It would have been all about her, and that was very refreshing. It'll be interesting to see how people try to tear that speech apart.
So he made this not about himself, as Hillary Clinton would have made it about her and about her being a woman. He made it about the people, said you are the people are supposed to control the government. That's what we're going to have happen.
Right.
And, of course, he also made a comment that is absolutely going to set the mainstream media ablaze. They are going to be absolutely incensed about the fact that he said, we will eradicate radical Islam from the face of the earth. That's a phrase that Obama and the left and the mainstream media could barely bring themselves to say in the face of a terrorist shooting. They couldn't talk about radical Islam. And he called it out and said, we will eradicate radical Islam from the face of the earth.
They only uttered those words, finally, Hillary Clinton, when she was campaigning this last year, and she was forced to have to do it because she could see that that was what was helping Donald Trump really connect with the worries that the American people were having. So she finally uttered those words, but it was pretty interesting.
Well, we have this report that I think is up on Infowars.com from Daily Mail. Obama's legacy: 8 years, 3,000 regulations, $8 trillion in debt. I think that's. I would disagree with those. I would disagree with those numbers because from what I saw, and I'll have to go back and get my source. It was 3,400 regulations in 2015 alone. So maybe this is a little over 3,000 regulations in 2016 alone, because they're talking about 97,000 pages in 2016 alone, an all-time record. I think that there may be some confusion on that. As I reported earlier, they have accelerated the number of regulations. And talking about midnight regulations, that's what they call the lame duck regulations from the election onto the swearing in of the next president. But, of course, we really, truly did have midnight regulations brought in last night. We had a massive, I think it was something like 1,500 pages of regulations. I read that article earlier today, just last night, from the the people who are forging our chains there in the bureaucracy. This is what Obama has used his pen and his phone for, not to save jobs, not to keep companies from moving jobs to other countries, not to entice them to bring jobs here, not to say to people, look, you've got these jobs, these factories in other countries, understand that it'll be to your economic interest to move that production to the United States, which is what other countries have done. It's what China has done. Mm-hmm. China has unabashedly protected its own markets. They've made it very difficult for other people to do business there, and they have done everything to incentivize it. We see this all the time in terms of the massive ships that are coming from China, going to Walmart, coming here heavily laden, record-size ships, and yet they return completely empty. Mm-hmm. And so this is something that Donald Trump has done, even though he wasn't president. He did more as president-elect to save jobs than we saw President Obama do. President Obama has been costing us jobs. When you go into debt, when you create this kind of regulation, mm-hmm. and you don't do any, that kills jobs regardless of whether they're sending the jobs abroad or bringing in foreign workers.
No, absolutely. And I reported on the nightly news the other night, it was more like 80,000 plus per year in these regulations. So there must be a different thing that they're working on here with those numbers.
Yeah, I think there needs to be some clarification. This is really understating it. Even, I think, the $8 trillion. I don't know. I mean, we're well over
here,
20 trillion.
Yeah, Drudge has leaves USA 9.335 trillion deeper in debt. So obviously those numbers are a little off there. But yeah, President Obama kept breaking the record for the amount of regulations that were, even though he only signed like 1,300 bills into law. So for those 1,300 bills into law, there were thousands and thousands of regulations, which of course is only going to stymie businesses, and small businesses are going to be the most affected by those regulations.
That's right. And that's been a problem with both the Republican and Democrat controlled Congresses. It's not just Obama and his executive orders, but they do not want to create the laws. They want to pass that power on to the bureaucracy. Mm-hmm. And both people like Paul Ryan and John Boehner, as well as Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid, they're all happy to do that. Hopefully that is something that is going to change under President Trump. Mm-hmm. We have a story that is breaking at Infowars.com. Police allow Black Lives Matter to attack women at a Trump inauguration. And I think we've got a video for this, guys. Do we have a video that we can show here, or is that just a report that we've got? I think we have some video. The article is up on Infowars.com. And, of course, that's what Alex Jones and the rest of the crew who are now live on the streets of Washington, D.C., have been talking about. The fact that the police have been pretty passive in the face of violent protesters, not only blocking people's access to the inauguration, getting at the entrance there before they go through the security services, keeping people from getting into the inauguration itself, but also attacking people, attacking women, hitting people with sucker punches. And there you can see Alex Jones. That's a Facebook mention there, I think, that we have going on there. You can see that live stream.
And I tweeted out a video a little earlier this morning of the crowd there, the barricade of bodies. They were not allowing one of these Trump supporters to get into the inauguration, and they actually separated him from his wife. So here he is on the other side of the barricade of people, and they're not allowing his wife to come through, and she's freaking out and he's freaking out. Like, you know, I mean, now you're messing with people's primal urges to want to bludgeon you over the head, but of course he can't, fight back against that. I mean, how would you have reacted if they separated you from Karen?
That is not speech. Okay, we have to understand when the left goes out here, they've said things like, well, you know what, we need to have a government subsidy for us to create, quote unquote, art that has a container of urine with a crucifix in it. And so that's our free speech. And you need to subsidize that to make it free for us. Okay, that's not what free speech is, folks. Free speech is political speech, and that's precisely what they do not want to have. They don't want to have any political speech. They don't want to back and forth, and they want to shut you down, and they won't even, when you give them the microphone to talk to the audience, they won't even use that to talk to people to tell them what they think.
Well, just like the free speech that we had at the inauguration when the crowd went wild, booing and chanting, "Lock her up," when they announced Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton walking down. So the entire crowd chanting, "Lock her up." And, of course, we got to be gracious, but maybe that's why she was looked a little upset there.
Again, we're going to run through, for those of you that are listening on the internet, we're going to run through live with our coverage of the inauguration. I'm David Knight with Leanne McAdoo. We also have our crew, and Washington, D.C., and we hear the singing that's going on there. Also, I want to remind you that to help support that InfoWars ground crew and our efforts to bring that information to you live, as we see the protesters there, we give you the side of it that the mainstream media is not going to give you. We have also put some specials out there for you. So we want to make this a win-win situation. We appreciate your support of us, and we want to support you to help you get the kinds of resources in terms of health products, supplements, be able to afford that. We've put some of our best sellers on sale at InfoWarsLife.com. We have 20 to 30% off. This is our sale that we began at the beginning of the new year, and we have continued that through to the inauguration. That will be ending very soon. We have also added an inauguration special, and that is InfoWars Select Storable Food at 30 to 40% off. You can find InfoWars Select Storable Food 30 to 40% off at InfoWars Store, and at InfoWars Life, you will find supplements like Super Male Vitality, 30% off. Brain Force Plus, 30% off. DNA Force, back in stock now at 10% off. So that is the way that we fund our operation here. We appreciate your support, and those are sales that will be ending soon, tied to the inauguration to the beginning of the new year.
Well, I've just been handed some news that despite multiple polls from the fake news outlets that are out there trying to tell people that Donald Trump is just public enemy number one, the majority of Americans view Trump favorably, according to the latest polls. This was about 52% now. So they keep trying to say it's hovering around 40%, but you know, they're going.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
He just won the election, folks. And here's another metric for you. If you don't want to, if you're confused about these competing polls, just take a look at how the NFL, that has been taking the position of Kaepernick and others, look at how they have plummeted in popularity. And I think it is tied to that. I don't think it is anything other than that. And they continue to come out with that. They're going to be using the Super Bowl. Probably the entertainers that'll be there will be given an opportunity platform to criticize Donald Trump, and I'm sure that's what they'll do. And there you can see Donald Trump waving goodbye to the crowd. He has been sworn in. He's given his speech, and his speech focused on a transfer of power, not to him, not to a party, but to the people. He said, this is not a transfer from one person to the other, exactly the opposite of what we would have heard from Hillary Clinton. She would have been basking in the glory of her identity politics if she had won. But he was talking about how this is a movement. We're going to take back power, give it to the people. The people are going to now be controlling the government, and a very, very different type of speech than we would have heard from Hillary Clinton.
Right, as it should be.